to Monday night. It's Monday Night Madness. I've decided that's what we might call the show every Monday. What do you think? Monday Night Madness? Into that or not?
Yeah, works for me.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's going to take us a while to get on do the voice chat thing. We'll get there. Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm joined, as you can see, by Mr. Nathan Proscott to my left, and below me, but morally higher than me, Mr. James Powell. Hello, James. Hi, Nate.
Hang on, below you.
Hi, Nate. Hi, James.
Hello.
Hi.
Well,
Is it on?
It's on. Everything's working. Hello?
Hello? Mom?
Is
Are you
anyone
there, Mom?
there?
Right, well, so excitingly, I'm excited to have Mr. Nathan Prescott on the show. And also, it seems like everyone on the Twitch chat is. They're just going wild for it. Going wild for it. And of course, everyone's really excited. Yeah, thank you, Nathan. And everyone's super excited to have James here.
Oh, it's like the noise of my house.
And then, of course, thank you so much. As you can tell, I'm here. There you go. It's just I'm going to do this for everyone. It's so much fun. Right. So yeah, welcome to the show. It's Monday night. We're going to be talking about Age of Sigmar. I want to say thank you to everyone on the Honest War Game Patreon. Everyone who listens to the podcast, please stay hydrated. Drink all your water. Drink loads of water. Or get the t-shirts. Oh no, are they on sale? What's on sale?
Which t-shirt?
Great answer.
Just dice, I think. Just dice at the minute. Just dice. Nothing else.
And if you're watching us live, like Aaron is on YouTube, Flukesy, Desert Sketch, Rograx, don't mind me, I'm just sat here identifying the font. Good. Halalex, hello. Gurzy, Brad Glover, welcome to the show. Very exciting to have you here with us live. Hugh, have you seen Hugh Sylvaneth yet, Nath? Oh no, I'm not sure the internet's working. Maybe it is. Can you hear me, James?
Oh, I can hear you. Yeah, I can hear you.
I can hear you.
All right, perfect.
No, I can't hear you anymore.
It's gonna be one of these weeks.
Can I hear you, Dave?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Anybody out there?
We can hear you. Can you hear me? Oh my
Yes.
God, the podcast people must be like, this sucks. Oh fuck. Steel Rat's fucking picture in the Discord's amazing. All right, well, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about all sorts, but before we talk about all sorts, I'm going to talk to you both. Nathan, how have you been? What's been going on in your life, in your world?
I've been alright. Got rained on a bit last week. And nothing really to report. I've started listening to the Critical Role podcast. That's quite good fun. Yeah, that's about it.
How come you've done that?
Say again?
I said, how come you've done that? Why are you listening?
Into the Critical Role podcast.
My son recommended it to me. He's a fucking geek.
Oh, so Nathan, are you good at D&D?
Yeah, that's the way I live my life, to be honest. It's a quest.
Just roll dice.
Yeah, I roll a dice and I continue with my quest.
What is your current life quest? Thank you, Tywin, for subscribing.
Well, I quite related to the first guy that I heard on there because he was on about ale, which is a good thing to be on about.
Yeah.
So I think that's his quest. And then they did go to a couple of houses of ill repute. So it sounded interesting.
Interesting. Is this because you're excited
Nathan
about
talking
playing?
about his weekend.
Yes, maybe.
Yes, maybe.
Would you say that you're going to play the? You can play the Age of Sigmar Dungeons and Dragons role-playing game thing with me?
Oh, is that? Yeah, I'll do that.
That's specifically why I've got this voice, so I can be like,
We enter the dark crystal basin cavern, and there we see a grot.
Yes, let's get him.
Don't hurt me! I'm just a tiny grot! Don't murder me!
That'd be great.
That,
Yeah, I
that
mean,
poor Grot.
that would be awesome.
Could I ask what is the update on the, because some people have been tuning in, what is the update on your Gobblepalooza?
No, no work has been done on them this week, I'm afraid.
No percentage increase.
No, still at 47.3% and 38.7%. Yeah.
Well, that's the perfect amount of percentage, I think. Truth be
Yeah.
told, good. All right. Well, we'll ask you more about what's going on in the world in a minute. James, how are you? How are you? I spoke to you only the other day, but I'd still like to know how you are.
Yeah. Yeah, all good. Plodding along. Enjoying, not enjoying, and enjoying isolation life. Yeah, all right. Got some sausage roll. Some vegan sausage roll. That's my dinner.
Nathan, I think you're now facing 2 vegetarians on the Monday night. How do you feel about that?
More for me.
Yeah.
Proper
There you go. See?
more proper food.
Keeping some
Well,
pigs for
I
Nathan.
don't want to go to a non-Warhammer related section, and I also don't want to talk about conspiracy theorists. So instead, I'll talk about a truth speaker, and that truth speaker is a man called Alex Jones. I'm not sure if you're aware of this gentleman. He's an awful human being and should be fired into the sun via a cannon. But he did the meat production worldwide might be slowing down because factories and whatnot are all locked down, so there might be less meat out there. Now, he said on his show, if he has a show, I don't know if that's what it's called, but I just need you to know this. He said, don't worry about me. I've got enough food for a couple of years, but I'm already eyeing up my neighbours. I will eat my neighbours. Nathan, I was just wondering how long without meat until you start eating your neighbours is the question I'd like to ask you.
Well, I mean, it won't be the first time I've eaten the neighbours, but just depends which bit we're talking about. The neighbours could be quite tasty, I guess. So sometimes they're better than the meat that you get from the shop. Although there's loads of meat out there still. I've seen it when I was driving home today.
Yeah. Well, I honestly am lost. I don't know if you're talking about girls or like the delay. The delay kind of fucks it up. Like the delay fucks me, so I don't really know where we're at. But okay, good. So James, you is it true that you have some Hero Quest out in front of you?
I have some Warhammer Quest out, which was the adult version of Hero Quest.
Adult
so I've got loads
version?
of old. Yeah.
Does that
So
mean
like,
it's
there's a scary
triple X?
Minotaur.
Oh.
And there's well, he's a pretty good-looking Minotaur, though. Yeah, he looks cute
Yeah,
as
yeah.
fuck. Yeah.
He's-
Yeah, look. And he's so static.
So because
and
it's
there's some Skaven.
because it's the adult version, is that a dildo he's holding?
Yeah. And
Good.
it's got ribbed for your pleasure.
Well, to be honest,
Right.
as Nathan will say, anything's dildo if you're brave enough.
Yeah. I
There you
learned
go.
that from
I got some little.
Jonathan.
You
be
don't hear
honest.
this on the Warhammer community stream. Little rat man.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
Little
he
Skaven.
looks
Old school.
bigger than the
And look,
Minotaur. He's great.
they're all the same. Oh no, he's not bigger than the Minotaur. I don't think he's big, but he's not as big. And the hilarious thing is, when I brought this, the person sent the models in an ice cream tub that they're still in. So this person like vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, so if you didn't tune
Boring.
in, if you guys who are watching live now didn't
There's a
tune in the other day, me and James had a chat on Sunday, so that would be yesterday. God, time is weird at the moment.
Cool.
And he decided he's going to get back into Hero Quest, or originally into Hero Quest. He's had a project that has been on the go for 20 years, so he's decided to finally pull the trigger.
Yeah. I learned that Warhammer Quest is really hard. So I did 3 rooms and died.
Oh, but
You
played on
died in
your
the
own.
4th room.
Yeah, so you're supposed to play with 4 people. I played by myself. And so I played with 2 characters. And in the first room, I had to draw a card for what happened, and I spawned 2d6 Skaven, so these little fellas,
Oh, you're
and
breaking
I
up.
rolled an 11. So in room 1, for 11 Skaven. Got me?
You're just breaking up a
So
tiny
11
bit.
Skaven came.
You sound like this.
Okay.
This is you currently sound a lot like this, like a robot.
That's cool.
That's how you currently sound.
Okay.
Try
Yeah.
again.
So in the first room, I rolled 2d6 Skaven for my event. Got 11. Had to
Oh.
kill 11 Skaven. So it took like, I don't know, 6 turns, I think, to get out the first room. The second room, nothing happened. And then in the third room, I got 3 Minotaurs that do 2d6 damage every time they hit you. So I died.
Oh, nice. Oh, nice. So
Yeah.
it's not going well.
No, but
Uh,
I mean, it was good fun.
That was game over. So that one sounds a bit like the Silver Tower, was it called? That game that we played a couple of times.
Yeah, we
So
did.
there's rooms, like a dungeon crawl.
Yeah.
Room thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So
He's the original
it's
one.
what Silver Tower was based on. So
Yeah. Cool.
you walk in these little rooms.
Yeah.
There's some
So,
corridors.
loads like Silver Tower then. Cool.
Yeah, it's really good.
Big shout out to Zirak for subscribing in the chat. Big shout out to Velatron in the chat. What up, buddy? Big love to Ollie. Hope Ollie's well. So that's exciting. I haven't been doing much apart from that's a lie. Apart from trying very hard to make Tabletop Simulator work this morning, which I failed to do. So I had a little grumpy, and then after I had a little grumpy, I had a little word with myself, looked at myself in the mirror and said, "Sort your life out." And then I started painting up these things. I don't know what they are. These are their dresses. Can you, you guys? Probably... Oh yeah, these guys. 3 gaunt summoners of Tzeentch are being painted up by me right now. I'm very.
3's a good number.
3 is the perfect number. 3, because I wrote a really fun screamer list that I wanted to try and play on Tabletop Simulator this morning. Because in the Host Arcanum, flying units, D3 flying units can make a 6-inch move at the start of the round. So I reckon I can do some real janky shit with like move 6 inches with one of these guys who fly, summon a Balewind, do a fucking Bolt of Tzeentch, do D6 mortal wounds on some fucker or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I'm enjoying. They're quite intimidating models because there's quite a lot of detail. But I'm going to do something which, because I had Henry Steele on the show today. I don't know if you guys know Henry Steele. Nathan, he's listened to us since Bravery 1.
Oh dear, poor man. Oh dear.
Well, Henry runs the Cult of Paint, and he said just be brave, just go for it. So I've just gone for it. I'm just going to paint up.
What, the opposite of Bravery 1?
Yeah. the exact opposite. So, Pete Pratt in the chat says 3 is 3 too many, but I think it's the perfect amount. A perfect amount of Gaunt Summoners. James, you're a big fan of Gaunt Summoners. You've ran a few, right?
I had 3. Great number. Because on turn 1, you just like 10 pink horrors, 10 pink horrors, 10 pink horrors. Oh, look, my Slaves to Darkness army's now got 150 wounds.
And then, because the Gaunt Summoner's right behind them, they're -1 to hit.
Yeah, so I don't think it doesn't work in Slaves to Darkness.
No. But it does work in Disciples of Tzeentch.
Yeah, I wasn't gamey like that, you see.
But they're going to be great. Nathan, you excited about playing me against these in about 3 to 8 months?
Yeah, I'm ecstatic.
Although Weatherspoons is apparently opening up in a month, so I'm saying let's organise an event at Weatherspoons.
Oh yeah, we can go play spoons. Cool.
No, let's not play spoons. Right, all right. Well, has anyone got any questions for my 2 co-hosts? That's what I'd like to know. And then other than that, we're a bit light on news this week if we move into the Age of Sigmar section, the news section. We're a bit light on the news section because obviously there's not lots, but there was a Tabletop Simulator event run this weekend by the Troll Slayers, and Adam Mumford organised that event, and there were like 21, 22 people. We had people from Finland playing, London, Plymouth, wherever the fuck that is. It's
So
Plymouth near-
international tournament.
Is
Wow.
it near Newcastle?
No.
James, do you know where Plymouth is?
It's down south.
South
fuck.
Coast.
Fuck those guys then. Anyway. But they had an event on Tabletop Simulator, and first and second place went to Seraphon, leading to some people saying that Seraphon might be quite good. Maybe because people are playing it on the Tabletop Simulator. Some people saying maybe it's because of the strength of the book. Other people saying it's not as good as people are saying. So I wanted to ask you, what have you heard people say, and what do you think?
I heard people talking about all sorts of weird things. But what I think about Seraphim, I think, is that they are strong.
Okay, you think they are strong? Do you think they're
Oh, yeah.
equally as strong as everyone, or not?
Oh, equally. I think they're stronger than a lot of people. I think because when we did the Seraphon book not that long ago.
We did.
Yeah, top tier, aren't they?
They are probably the best book in the game.
Yeah,
But some people feel that might not be the case. But that's okay.
I think they're on par with Zinch and Slanesh and all of those lads, aren't they?
Well, Zinch into them is actually a bad matchup because obviously they do bonus damage versus demons if you're taking certain builds. Global Unbinds, pretty good. Global AoE spells. I think arguably they're very strong, but they came first and second at Tabletop Simulator event, which I thought was fun. It's the only real news that we've got, ATM, although the Warhammer community did post out a 40k article today. Now, that isn't necessarily an indictment that we're going to see Age of Sigmar articles, but they haven't done any for 3 to 4 weeks. Deviant Dark, thanks for joining Patreon. So yeah, cool. They that would mean.
So what, like a narrative type article, or?
No, about the rules. So I think Mechanicum are coming out soon. But what that means is that the Age of Sigmar stuff is good. What I'm trying to say is I think production has begun again at Games Workshop.
Okay,
obviously, they've opened the web store up.
But it's because I placed that 40k order. They knew it was coming.
Yes, yeah.
They were like, he's placing an order. Saw that shit out. Get him in model.
So Heinrad says, is it a narrative article disguised as an advert? It's exactly that. But most importantly, because there's some 40k article, that means there'll be an Age of Sigmar article, which means we might start seeing the release of the Lumineth Realm Lords sometime soon, is what I'm trying to get at, basically. Which is exciting, right?
Cool. Yeah. When is the White Dwarf released? Is that beginning of the month as well?
Yeah, it should be. It's at the beginning of every month, isn't it?
Is it? Okay, cool.
But they probably won't be releasing that. Well, I'm sure they will. The White Dwarfs, there'll be like I don't know what the situation is.
The chat saying apparently it's released in the middle of the month now.
Oh, okay. Cool. Oh well, be interesting to see if you still get the physical copy of that, or if they're just doing digitals, or how that's working. I assume they did one last month. So,
yeah, I guess it had already been made. So I'm just noticing the chat. Apparently in the chat, Scrivo is saying apparently they've done copies for subscribers. So I guess maybe they'll send out the ones for people that already subscribe, but not bother with shop retail. Maybe.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. Well, so ultimately, it looks like we are going to start being back on the road again. Dun, 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 dun. So, how did you? Are you comfortable with the break that we had? Was it a nice chance to refresh and catch up? Are you excited about either the Lumineth Realm Lords or the Giants?
The Sons of Tiamat. Yeah, I'm excited for both of them. Yeah, they're going to be fun. The Giants are going to be great, and the Lumineth Realm Lords are going to be probably bent as fuck.
Don't say that, Nathan. I'm buying them.
And a good laugh. I'm sure there'll be a fun laugh indeed.
What, you don't want to play the Realm? So you're going to buy the Lumineth Realm Lords, James?
Yeah. So Since we've been in isolation, it was my birthday. So that is my
Congratulations.
birthday present. Is that if I can ever get a copy, is the box that they advertised before this started. So the bit of everything. Yeah. So my original idea was that they would come out mid-year. I'd play Slaves to Darkness for the rest of the year, and there'd be like a slow grow hobby paint experience for the rest of the year. Play them next year. Who knows now? But yeah, so big fan of the models. The first box set I had when I was a kid was fourth, was it? Which was High Elves and Goblins. So yeah, the original models that they leaked, the Spearmen, the Bowmen, I think just look the same. So super excited for those, and the horses. Paint those, see what happens. Hoping to have an army that I love, rather than care what the rules are, I guess.
Oh, okay. So you're going to emotionally commit to the edgelords.
Yeah, they're going to be named.
Wow. You're going to name all of your characters.
All the characters are going to be named.
Have you got a sample name?
Yeah.
Not yet. Not yet.
Oh.
That's spoilers. No spoilers.
Oof.
Oh,
Got
wow.
to look in that. Got to
You've
look
built-
them in the eyes first.
Are you
You're
gonna help
building yourself up. You're edging towards it.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
the edgelords, the rimlords, more like fucking elves.
Edging all the
yeah.
time. Edging.
Well, I'm excited for you, bro. Honestly, I'm
So
excited.
the release
Those-
will be great.
Yeah, the release will be great, and I'm very excited to read the narrative because it's such a wild ride, isn't it? Those big mountain cows. Find out what actually happened to the elves. See how many times they write the words haughty, arrogant, or condescending in the narrative description. The haughty elves. I think you're going to see that a lot, but we'll see.
Snooty beauties.
Snooty booty. Yeah.
Maybe that's what my army will be called. The Snooty Beauties.
Snooty beauties.
Velatron says, I'm thinking of using Lumineth bodies as conversions for Noble Death Army. That would look really cool. That would be really cool. Nice kit bash. All right, well, have you guys seen any hobby online that you've seen this week that you've liked? Some like hot take hobby? I saw some. I was wondering if you guys have seen any.
I don't think so. I got sent a picture of a really nice dinosaur bum yesterday.
Really?
It was a stegodon. Let me find. It was from Instagram. Hang on, let me find the artist so I can actually give them credit.
What, an actual stegodon's butt?
Yeah,
Wow.
it was. Miriam. Oh my. Oh dear. Miriam Klein. So it's Miriam Miriam .KLEIJN on Instagram. Had like painted a stegodon. Let me see. So there's the colour.
Alright, cool.
Super nice. It was a really nice, really clean bit of
Why
painting.
why did someone send you the picture of the dinosaur butt?
Oh, someone's getting into Warhammer for the first time, and was like, I like this color. I've never painted a model. I don't think I can achieve this color. So it was like, I don't even know what color this is. I was like, cool. Looks like Demonette Hide. Like my painting's not that good, but that looks like Demonette Hide. Let's start there. So yeah.
Okay, great. I had Henry on earlier, who's an expert painter who runs painting classes, and I'm just like, he's like, yeah, you know, when people ask you for color recipes, I'm like, yeah, red or black or blue. Like, yeah, I think I know a paint. I actually intentionally found out Screamer Paint earlier, Screamer Pink, so I'm really proud that I knew the name of Screamer Pink. I was like, yeah, Screamer Pink, that's the future. But yeah, good. I saw the new Benjamin Sava Bone Reaper OCR Bone Reaper army online. I don't know if you guys saw that, but it looked pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Painted up. Yeah, that looked really, really nice. I was super impressed with that.
I have. Do you know what else I saw?
What?
I saw, and he's in the chat. So I saw Velotron's Ollie's Pirate Skaven turned into like that piece of art. That was really cool.
Yes, I saw that. There's that guy. So the guy, I don't know what the guy's name is, but there's a chap who, if you take like an army shot, he basically then takes the picture and he adds loads of, I think he's using Procreate, but he basically draws art around it and turns it into an art piece. It's super cool. It's really, really fancy. I don't know who the name is of the artist, but it's really rad. As soon as I saw it, I retweeted it and stuff. So hopefully that got that out more into the world. But it looks super sweet. Have you seen that online, Nath?
I did see Sava's. Is it Nagash or is it Catacross? Like where he's merged the two. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think it's Negatacross.
Nagash across. Yeah, that guy. No, that was a really nice piece. I did notice that too. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Other than that, I've just seen 3 horrible-looking gaunt summoners.
Oh, that's the only hobby you've seen. Oh, they're really nice fellas. They're really nice fellas. I'm gonna paint
Why are you painting them like the Powerpuff Girls?
I think I just want them to stand out. Well, you don't have to do blue, man. It's my hobby. Hashtag.
My hobby, my choice.
Yeah, my hobby, my choice. They're gonna look really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe I'm going to call them the Powerpuff Girls. Maybe that's my narrative. Yeah, that they're like ladies who want to change the ways.
Before we go any further, can you name the 3 Powerpuff Girls?
No.
Dixie, Dot, and Mo.
No, they're all bees.
Bertie, Bezzy.
It's Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles.
Oh yeah.
There is the Powerpuff Girls.
Bloody hell.
Wow. Okay. we know what James dresses up at the weekend.
Yeah, always.
All right, well, that's all the news that I think has been going on around. There hasn't really been much else. And if there has been some, we've covered it in the daily shows, so that's been really nice. But I'm looking forward to the articles coming out and getting some new gossip popping through. Especially, I'm loving some new Battletome releases. Can't wait for the hot takes on the new book, so looking forward to that. And then also, I know that it's really nice to see the Tabletop Simulator environment working really well and people playing those games and practicing those lists. I played a game with the guys on Friday, and I think I've written about 30 different lists that I want to try out now. So I'm pretty mad keen for it, I'm not going to lie. Just because it's a great opportunity for me to just go, like, what can I do with this list? What can I do with that? Build it, put it on the tabletop, try it out. So it's a really good tool. So I've been enjoying. So
you're gonna do some regular games. Are you gonna stream any of them?
Yeah, I tried to stream one this morning, but because of the new internet that we've got, it didn't work because I can't host it or my IP has an issue. I don't know.
I might have a solution for that, but we'll talk about
later.
It not on the show.
Yeah, but yeah, the idea is hopefully to stream a game a day. Like Monday through to Friday.
Cool.
Because it would just be great practice for me leading up to. So I want to stay sharp on the rules and keep stuff updated for events for when we go back to doing live coverage. So yeah, I'm super excited about that, and also trying a whole ton of lists out, like just a whole ton. Do you know what I mean?
Have we heard any rumors about when the new General's Handbook will be out? I assume this comes out middle of the year, doesn't it? June-ish time?
So it should be about 6 weeks away.
Wow.
Yeah, it should be about 6 weeks away on a normal schedule. But obviously we've had a 6-week block of nothing. So we might have a 6-week delay, so it might be 12 weeks. So anywhere between 6 and 12 weeks. It really depends. But because of the way the General's Handbook's produced, obviously what they do is just randomly create numbers, put it in a book, and then send it off to China based on all the other General Handbooks. There's almost zero feedback. And then so there's been no delay. So it should have been sent off 3 months ago. So it should have come through if exports from China were happening at the time. So you remember what happened with the Sylvaneth book, and things might not.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have stayed there, couldn't it? The poor Sylvaneth players.
It could have stayed there, bless him. But apparently the Tree Lord meta, Chris was telling me it's all about the Tree Lord meta, and if you don't believe him, neither do I. There he is in the chat. So I'm looking forward to doing that, and honestly, for me, I don't know about you guys, but list writing and the hobby seems to have taken like a bit of a halt. But as soon as I found out I could put a whole bunch of lists together and throw them on the tabletop, even if it's an Unreal tabletop, I got super excited to try things out. Especially like a Screamer list I've been experimenting with, Seraphon. But I don't think you really need to play the Seraphon. You just kind of put 40 skinks up and some salamanders behind it, and you just kind of just fucking dick around. Just have Croak at the back casting spells, being a dick. So
it's true. I've not written this in ages, so yeah. I should do that again. It's fun.
Yeah, you and me will play, Nath. We'll play the tabletop simulator, right?
Sure, maybe.
Do you want to try?
Yeah, I can try again.
Okay. You burned before. Really hurt.
No, it wasn't too bad actually when I played before.
So Velatron says, you know what would be cool is if the General's Handbook, if the release so it coincides with the tournament season year. For me, a tournament season has always just been General's Handbook to General's Handbook. I don't know if you guys agree with that. That's how it feels to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what you would class the tournament season year from.
So there's normally nothing in December, is there? I guess.
Christmas.
Yeah, but no tournaments.
Yeah,
Because
no
even
tournaments,
Crimbobo's November, so maybe you just I don't know, like January, release it January. Don't do this one, release it in January. Let the year go, January. It's like a little Christmas present, then, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like the season begins General's Handbook to General's Handbook, and actually I've really enjoyed the regularity of knowing that it's going to come in summertime. When me and LLV do the stats or anything like that, it's felt really consistent, and it's been point to point. Obviously, it would be nice if it was like done on a year-in basis. You know, it came out Jan 1st or whatever, and we just kicked off the year like that. But you know, because we've also been super lucky where we've had like the edition change happen at the same time as the GHB. So actually, it seems like a really consistent time frame, and it's always a year. And that seems really nice. Like I like what they did. A quick question: do you guys want to see them do anything a bit wild this year? Like a couple of GHBs ago, they obviously put in horde discounts. So you know, like you took a big block and you got a discount on the big block, and they seem to have moved away from that in a lot of the recent battle tomes. I wouldn't mind if they just made like a whole bunch of non-named character monsters, so just random monsters, cheaper. Because you can still only take 4, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, they're welcome to go wild. I'd love it.
Yeah, get into the realm of Gur and just do whatever. Like that's always something I thought would be really fun. Is there anything else you could think that would be cool, or you'd like to see, or would you not like that?
I think like there's room in. I think it depends how you want to play, doesn't it? I think like if you're the people that play to go to an event, win a trophy, and go home, then like balance and sensible army choices kind of really matter. But I think like when you look at the fact that in I don't know, let's say 12 weeks, maybe longer for painting, we're going to go to an event and someone's going to have an army of like 5 giant models, max probably, like is funny. Like Age of Sigmar version 1, there were some stupid rules, but they were funny.
Yeah,
they were
funny.
You know, like that. What was his name? The bat cape vampire.
Manfred.
Conrad. Was it Conrad van Karstein? If you talk to him, he rerolled hits. If he talked back, he rerolled wounds. Like I just think some of those had that amusement we talked about the other day, where like having a character that you care about, that you know the name of, that you almost refer to by name, kind of makes it funny. So I don't know. I think almost add some madness to it. Like realize that there is a tournament scene and people are still going to take kind of intense lists, but almost reward people for like having a laugh. Like, oh, you're going to take 5 giants. It's going to be really hard because you've got 5 models. So here's some stupid rules.
Well, I think interactive rules would you say it's a better way of describing it?
Yeah, probably. Like something that I don't know makes your opponent laugh, like have a conversation about. I think those are the games that are fun. Like the best. I mean, I bang on about it all the time, don't I? But the best part of for me of Age of Sigmar is like the bunch of people in the chat channel the conversations we have, the stories that come out of it, the friends I've made. Oh, is that a bit emotional? But I just think like that's the best bit, right? So if you can make the game just a bit like more interactive and fun, great, do it. Doesn't matter how it, how it comes about.
I agree.
Thanks for the drum roll.
Was that a punchline? That's great.
Only using bad sound effects is now my new favourite thing. Nathan, you got any thoughts on the GHB?
No. I mean, yeah, it's going to be cool to see. It'll be interesting to see if they mix up the command abilities like the last one. Maybe do something about the realm artifacts as well. It'd be interesting to see if they do edit any of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so there's things we do know, right? Like only 3 endless spells. What was the other one that I don't know. Whatever. But it's gonna be cool whenever it comes out. But I think I don't mind when it is, because I know I would prefer if they said with some regularity when it was come out, like it's gonna come out June the 8th or whatever the fuck it's gonna be, and then tournaments around that can be like, okay guys, just FYI, GHB's then. So it's 2 weeks, so we'll be using old rules, or it's 4 weeks away, so we'll be using the new points. Do you know what I mean? I wish there was some sort of like pinpoint accuracy for TOs, even if like they, I don't know, like just DM'd the TOs and they stuck them under an NDA or something, just so that they could plan a little bit better. I'm not sure. Do you know what I mean? But it would be nice to have that for tournaments. But that'll never happen, so it doesn't matter. But
I guess you wouldn't even need an NDA though, would you? Because they could almost just be like, this is the schedule we're thinking of the books coming out on. If you're hosting an event, like, you decide. Like, is 2 weeks before long enough for people to learn the rules? Cool. So we think Skaven's coming out on March the 12th. Done.
Yes.
We can't be held liable to this, but here's the dates. This is when we think books are.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think that would be helpful, but I'm not sure we're ever going to see it. Halalex in the chat says, I saw Adam announced a tabletop simulator tournament for the 16th. I'd like to join, but I've never done a tournament before. Kind of scared to sign up. Would people be okay playing against a new player? Yes, they would. You absolutely should do that. People will be fine. Just sign up, have a laugh. You'll be super cool about it. And Kadred asked NDA or MDMA. I think NDA, but MDMA could also work if they gave that to all the TOs.
Yeah.
It might get some funky rules.
That would help them not forget whatever it was that told them to have this. And yeah.
So should we get on with the crux of the show today?
Yep.
Yeah, if you guys are interested. So today we're going to talk about, we're going to carry on with our sub-faction chats, and we're going to talk about Stormcast Eternals, and if we have time, the Sylvaneth, which is going to be fine. So we're...
Do you mean Seraphon? We're doing Sylvaneth.
Sylvaneth?
Okay, cool.
Did I say Seraphon?
No, I don't think so.
I
think I'm going mad.
S's. Yeah. The last time I read the Sylvaneth Battletome was with my friend Jonathan Etland in a pub just around the corner, because it had accidentally been leaked somehow online, and then we did a show that day, and that was the last time I read it, because really, you don't need
because you read it and thought, I can't play this, it's too scary.
Yeah, that's it, because actually that's exactly the right response. Because the reason I don't play Sylvaneth is because I'm not brave enough. Because only the truest, most brave, most noble people will play with the Sylvaneth, and people who really want to just move 5 inches a turn with their Kurnoth Hunters, dreaming of a day when they'll get into combat. Nathan, have you played any Sylvaneth since the new book? Against any?
I think I have. I can't recall. Damn, that's a bit on the spot. I'm gonna say I have, but I can't remember. Fuck.
Did you play against any, James?
I've played against them, yeah. So the first proper game I think I played against them was at Crimbobo, so it was doubles, and 20. and if we get there, it'll remind me. But one of the games, he had the faction where you can basically make a unit fight twice
Yes.
and
Yes.
increase its damage. And he put them into 40 Marauders, old rules, pre-Slaves to Darkness, who had the 5-up shrug, and it took 2 rounds of 10, I think, maybe, no, 9 kind of hunters fighting twice with extra damage to kill 40 Marauders. So, and old Marauders, like it was terrible.
Yeah. I think that's pretty much everyone's experience of it. Some people saying only the truest and bravest is provoked tree. He likes an army that moves forward by inches as a true Dwarden player. And Chris says it's hard mode for heroes. But we're not going to talk about those guys first. Before then, we are going to talk about the Hammers, well, not the Hammers, well, the Stormcast Eternal subfactions. Which one of the oldest books, but super weird. They did subfactions for Nighthaunt, not for Nighthaunt, for Stormcast Eternals, and then didn't do subfactions for Nighthaunt in the same release. Do you guys find that weird?
I'd say it was weird, but I also think like the Stormcast, having been a Stormcast player, the Stormcast releases were ridiculous anyway. Because what was it, in the space of the first 3 years, they had 4 books?
Yes.
3 or 4 books?
And they've always sort of had subfactions anyway, haven't they? The Chambers, the whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, I can't remember if the first book had them or not.
No, it had them like narratively, but didn't have rules-wise for them. I think the first time we saw subfactions put into free rules was the Daughters of Cain book, or if Idneth. I think if Idneth came before, but I think Daughters of Cain came before.
Daughters of Cain was first,
So
yeah.
The barracks in the Caradron had it.
Yes, thank you.
And
Dave,
I think also, didn't the Stormcast have chambers in the other books before that? And wasn't Sylvaneth,
no, Sylvaneth
Winterleaf,
hadn't. No,
and all of that? They were big formations.
Battalions.
Battalions.
Yeah, they were battalions. Oh, 80 Mac in the chat. What up, 80 Mac?
Whoa!
I know, that's lovely. Yeah, so they I think you're right, Nathan. I think it was the KO, actually, thinking about it. But either way, they didn't carry that on with Nighthaunt for some reason. But at the same time, they released the Stormcast Eternals. So now we're going to get to talk a little bit about the Stormcast Eternals. Before the lockdown, they weren't running a particularly successful win rate. With a lot of people would say just take Shootcast, and then a lot of people went, okay, I've tried that and I keep losing, and everyone was like, yeah, but you need to Shootcast harder. And they were like, I don't get what you mean. I've been playing it at tournaments and I keep not winning tournaments. And they're like, just Shootcast harder. And I don't really know what that meant either, but maybe looking through the book today will give us some inspiration for some new lists.
When you roll a 12, just charge.
Yeah, all day long. Nath, what do you think about the Stormcast Eternals? James and Nath, top level before we get into the subfactions. How do you feel about them as an army, narratively and competitively?
Well, I thought they were a little bit stronger, especially with the Slanesh and all of that. I thought they were a bit better against them. But I don't have a great deal of knowledge about them. So I am really interested in hearing what the different chambers do again. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this little adventure we're going on.
So I really like them. I like them as models. I like the aesthetic, whatever people think. I think the backstory was cool. But I feel like, having played them for quite a long time, they're like taking Mario in Mario Kart. Like, average at everything. Yeah. That's how they work. Like, everything hits on a 3, everything wounds on a 3. It might, if you're lucky, have 1 rend. Their bravery's average, their save's average. Like, they're just average across the board. And that's their weakness, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. It's like when you have sex and then you turn the light on, you think, well, we're in for a bit of a different time today. That's nice. Like, you're just mixing it up. Yeah, you're pushing the boat out, Dave. I'm sure you know what I mean.
What, you turn the light on?
Yeah. You know when you want...
Rob's lost it.
You know when you want to change your pace and you don't mind someone seeing you cry? You just think, I'll bang the lights on. There's no problems here.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Okay, fine. If you're going to be like that, you're going to get
Sounds
one. You're going to get one of those. 80 bucks. Right. All right. Well, anyway, no, I agree with your point, James. Nathan, you've said what you've said. All right. For me,
I've said what I've said. I have said what I've said. You're right.
change of pace. Well, for me, I think the thing about Stormcast is exactly what James said. They suffer from being the poster boys and girls, and so because of that, they can get a little bit of of a ribbon. But truth be told, like the narrative initially was really poor, but the narrative for Age of Sigmar initially was really, really poor.
Yep.
As time has gone on, they have really developed those characters. I saw a really fascinating narrative review of them recently, where they talked about Space Marines and how Space Marines started out as satirical neo-fascists, who over time, if you think about them as being the very worst of the worst, which is effectively what Space Marines were at their inception. They were these monster police. Everything that the 80s told us to rage against the machine about, they were that, in this far future. But then over time have more kind of softened and have become kind of galactic superheroes. They're not quite Galaxy Quest yet, but they're not far off. Whereas on the other scale of the thing, when Age of Sigmar started, the Stormcast Eternals were like the fucking heroes. They were gold. They were teleported down from lightning. They had big shields. They were like, we're the legends. But since then, they've developed like a much more constructively dark narrative, and they've got this inherent trait flaw when they get reforged, which I know was kind of in there at the beginning, but it's got worse and worse. They've developed because also when they're super soldiers, which is what they are, working for Sigmar against Chaos, they make loads of sense. But when they're police soldiers who are also the lords of keeps inside cities with human beings, they're not. They don't really make much sense. Because if you fucking torture a soul to put it into a golden sarcophagus, and then you send it down to battle Chaos, you're like, this makes sense narratively. This is cool. But then you go, now you're in charge of making sure the flower gets into the city, and then the Stormcast guy's like, oh man, I've just got a big spear and wings. Doesn't make any sense. But it's really cool because they've gone from these golden boys to kind of they've gone to the middle ground. So Stormcast and Space Marines are kind of in the same place narratively, but they came at it from very different angles. And I thought that was a super cool perspective to view them as cooler than we sometimes give them. Because to give them their credit, they can sometimes be kind of cool.
I mean, we'll probably go over it because I have loads of moans. I've just thought of as you talked about various Stormcast issues. But I think they get more hassle because they looked like Space Marines and they were in a fantasy game, right?
Yes, yeah, I think so. Okay, well let's get on with talking about the sub-factions. I think because they're obviously they're the poster boys of Storm factions. Also, Provoke Tree in our Discord has just put up a great picture of his Stormcast, but they've all got Dwarden heads, so that's a way to make them loads better straight away.
Cool.
Right, well, so first off, we've got the Hammers of Sigmar. So these are the guys who we initially saw at the beginning of the Age of Sigmar. They're the Golden Boys, and therefore they are the poster children of the Age of Sigmar. Their narrative is pretty cool. Of all the Storm hosts, the Hammers of Sigmar have seen the battles in the name of the God King. Time and again, they are sent from the forges of the Sigmabalium, I can't say that, to the front lines. They know little of peace, for they are ever in the thick of battle. They would have it no other way. So this Storm host is... So basically, they're the guys who fight the most, which is cool, and they make their city in Hammerhall. The cool bit about their narrative is, because they're the guys that fought the most, everyone's okay with them, but they're also the people that have been reforged the most, so they're the most fucked up ones.
Yeah, they're also the ones that can get reforged super fast, right?
Yeah, but that's worse.
Part of their lore, so they can die and come back to the same battle and then be super messed up, I think, right?
Yeah, they're all they're all messed up. They also live in I've had a request in the chat. They also live in Hammerhall, so I'll read that out
For you. It was the Hammers of Sigmar who first captured the realm gate around which the city of Hammerhall is built. 30 chambers struck at both sides of the gateway, battling the Uruk tribes who worshipped it. Only after long years of fighting with the aid of the Hallow Knights, the Anvils of the Heldenhammer, and several other storm hosts, did Sigmar's warriors at last defeat the Uruk Scourge.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay,
Epic.
good.
Sounded epic.
Epic. So, have you guys got any? Have you guys got anything else you'd like to say about the Hallowed Knights before we move on?
The Hammers of Sigmar.
Hammers of Sigmar, sorry.
So one of my complaints is the Hammers of Sigmar.
Oh, okay.
So the one, and I'm guessing we'll go to rules in a second, but I'm going to go first.
Well, if you can do this while I scroll to the rules.
Okay, cool. So I think the most annoying thing for me, having played Stormcast, so I played Stormcast Book 1 when the chambers didn't matter and painted mine as I wanted to paint them. And I know you can play them as a chamber they're not painted to, but it hurts me a little bit. But I still think the worst thing is that there's like 5 Stormcast named characters that can only be Hammers of Sigmar.
Yes.
So like that point when Gavriel Shore Charge was literally the best way to make evocators always get into combat. I think like that was a bad bit because it meant that what we didn't see is any interesting builds in Stormcast from the other chambers. Everyone was like, cool, gotta be Hammers of Sigmar, gotta have this hero. And I think obviously you get that with Space Marines, don't you, in 40k, because the chapters are huge and have their own book and rules, which doesn't work in, we're not going to see a book for each Stormcast chamber, or hopefully not in Sigmar. So
No.
I don't understand why they do it.
Why all things aren't created equal, basically?
Yeah, well, it's just, I think it's that same thing, isn't it? When we talk about occasionally, and we talked about the General's Handbook and seeing like maybe things that could make lists more interesting in the sense of, bring monsters down and people will maybe bring 4 to every game. Like when you're like, cool, play this army, but only this one sub-faction in it can take 5 named character heroes.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Yeah.
It's like if they did Grots, if they created like Grot sub-factions, but then Scraggy was a named character, could only go in the main Grot faction, and then there were 4 other ones. You're like, well, why? Spread it around. This is one of the cool things that they have done with 40k, obviously, is you've got normally some sort of named character, but some notable examples of some entire like first founded legions, like take Salamanders, who haven't really got anything super cool. But that said, we have seen recently they've got their own books, their own special characters, so it might be something we see in the future. I just think, look how obsessed they are with making Primaris Lieutenants. They even had to create a meme about themselves. So in the future, maybe we'll see them expand out. But they tend to just always circle back to the poster boys of each sub-faction. I don't know why. Maybe that's because they think it's the one that's best representative or it's the most popular. I'm not really sure, but yeah, it's a fair criticism. Nath, you got any thoughts?
Yeah, I think they do have it a little bit in some of the other books where the name character, like Catacross, can only go. Well, he's keyworded Mortis Praetorian, isn't he? So he can't go in the other sub factions there, or his
So
abilities.
he can go in, but his ability doesn't work.
Yeah. So his abilities would only affect himself. So, so you can sort of see why it's more narrative why those things happen. But it would be cool to see some of the narrative that you see about some of the other characters. It would be cool to see those people like I think Gardas is one of the other Stormcast, and I think he was from a different chamber. My Stormcaster was not great, but yeah,
I think he was Blue Boys. What are they?
Is also okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. For some reason, I don't know how you guys feel as well. Like sometimes it feels like because we make content about it, we feel like we have to read about it. But it's really not ever dragged me in the Stormcast narrative particularly, and none of the characters have done it either. I think maybe it was the early audiobooks that was so dross that and I struggled through them. And there's only so many times you can listen to some dickhead say "Only the faithful" without being like, "I'm just going to turn this off," because do better, be better at what you're doing. But I'm really hoping that from everything I've heard, it's got loads better. And I would like to take this opportunity to say probably the narrative coming out of Black Library is probably really, really good, and people should read the books from there. It's probably brilliant.
Yeah. Well, I've obviously read the last couple of the Gotrek, new Gotrek ones, and they've been Stormcast characters in those, and they have been pretty cool. Yeah. They've got depth to them, and they've been interesting. So,
Sweet.
it'd be good to have some of those sort of characters where you can have them in their different chambers. Even if you can just take a standard dude like a Knight Fennett or whatever, and just say, "Oh, this is DG Flip from whatchamacallem place."
Fucking smashing it, Nathan. So
And
proud
he
of
has some rules for him. He has some rules that belong to that.
Fucking miss you so much. Love you loads, bro. Love you loads. All right, so let's talk Hammers of Sigmar. Their rules, yeah?
Yeah.
So the Golden Boys. The first to be forged is one of their special rules. Add 1 to the bravery characteristic of friendly Hammers of Sigmar units. So won't be a reason that you take this army. Command ability. Soul of the Storm Host. You can use this command ability when a friendly Hammers of Sigmar Redeemer unit is destroyed. If you do so, roll a dice on a 5+. A new unit identical to the one that was destroyed is added to your army. Set up the new unit anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inches away. Well, we see that a lot.
Yep.
Yeah, Soul of the Storm Host.
Yeah,
in fact, we've seen that. Go on.
Yeah, we saw that to use to good effect a couple of times. I think at the Crimbobo, was it?
Yes.
Where we saw Gary Percival use it against Richie. That was quite an epic moment, wasn't it? So, yeah. Again, I mean, it's only on a 5-up and it is a command point, and it only affects Redeemer units.
So it's only Liberators or Sequitors.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's quite a few hoops to jump for when you compare it to a lot of the other command abilities nowadays. It's it's not that great, but yeah.
But at the time,
it's epic. It is epic.
Yeah, at the time, it was the one. It was like people loved that shit, bringing back a whole unit on a 5+, and it won tournaments and games that ability happening, and lost games as well.
You can stack it as well, can't you? So if you had 4 command points, you could be like, "Can I roll a 5? No. Can I roll a 5? No. Can I roll a 5? Yeah. Here's 20 Sequitors you've just taken 4 turns to kill."
Yeah, it's pretty gross. You can see why it was taken. And their command trait, we cannot fail. Roll a dice each time you allocate a wound or mortal wound to a friendly Hammers of Sigmar unit wholly within 9 inches of the general on a 6+. That wound or mortal wound is ignored. So a 6+ DPR isn't bad. But arguably, one of the issues Stormcast have is that they've got very elite wounds. They've got great wounds. Each one of their wounds is a really good piece of damage output, and it's got a really good save. But it struggles against mortal wounds, and which is why we've seen them drop off the board. Especially, I mean, a unit of 40 skinks would go through 20 Sequitors like they're made of like paper, which is honestly hilarious. Like when you now picture it, picture 20 stalwart Stormcast Eternals, shields as tall, ankle to head, yeah, and then 40 tiny skinks would rip through them without losing a man back. It's just bonkers. Anyway. Yeah, So they need an update, is what I'm trying to say. So that's not a bad command trait, I guess, for command traits, because you have to take it, obviously. And then you got the Godforged Blade. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. If the unmodified hit roll for an attack made with a Godforged Blade is a 6, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the attack. So there's nothing really in here that tells you to do anything other than try to stack redeem your units and make the unit come back, right? That's all we're seeing. So why would you do anything else? Which is a shame for the army, but you know.
Yeah. So but you can see is that all of the rules that they get?
That's it.
Yeah. So you can see it's quite like it's one of the older rule sets, isn't it? Because definitely, they're not very
limited.
Limited is a good word to use. Yeah, they are limited.
It's a bit like the Gloomspite Gits book, Nath.
Fuck you.
Oh, it's just like seeing you in real life. I just have to wait like a second more for the fuck you, but it's still worth it. Still worth it. One of those. So Velatron in the chat, who's a big Stormcast player, which I think is why he's tuned in today. Stormcast will benefit a lot from getting access to a 5+ DPR, which a lot of factions have. I mean, you only need to look at the survivability of a Stonehorn or a Vermin Lord at this stage, or goddamn the Legions of Chaos Ascendant they've got like an ability to have an extra 5+, and that 6+ isn't. I suppose like when you see it on like a death save or like a Deathless Minion save or something, like Disgusting Resilience is genuinely good, like that 5+, but it's on a 5+ armor. It's on a 5+ armor save, so it's really the save that you're actually getting. Whereas I don't know, Stormcast should be more survivable. I'd like to see Stormcast, especially like the Sword and Board or the Hammer and Board Stormcast. I'd like to see them nigh on and shiftable, or like a lot harder to shift. It doesn't make sense why a full armor-plated dude with a shield the size of a sail is not as tough as a naked ginger dwarf, but he changed my mind. You know when you watch the Stormcast podcast that they do, and they're like, the way we come up with the rules is we look at the model and then we create the narrative based off that. And I'm like, do you? Are you high? Are you really
they looked at those skinks and they thought, God, these guys have got muscles coming out their arse.
Where's that drum?
I'll set you one up, Nath. As Owen is saying in the chat, those Daughters of Cain bikinis. Holy shit. Anyway, it's their faith that protects them, right? It's their faith. So that's the Hammers of Sigmar.
Stormcast are lacking in faith.
Yeah, which is weird because they literally meet their god. So next up is the Hallowed Knights.
Obviously, that's a good reason to lack faith once you've met your god.
Well, you just think he's not that great.
Yeah, especially if he sucks a bit.
That's good. Right, so the Hallowed Knights, these ones are pretty cool. Would you like me to do it in a fun voice?
Yes, please.
Okay.
The Hallowed Knights are holy crusaders all. Their inner strength and purity of spirit is legendary. They fervently believe in Sigmar's supremacy and pray to him day and night with the strength to smite his enemies. They were made to suffer the woes of each of the worlds and to overcome them. Zealous beyond measure, loyal beyond question. This is too serious. Hold on. Oh wait, no, that was the non-serious one. I'll get more serious. They consider the war against chaos to be a sacred quest for which no sacrifice is too great. The Hallowed Knights were the fourth storm host to be founded and of a strong religious culture, valuing prayer, ritual, and hymns of praise so highly that even Sigmar himself has expressed unease at the intensity of their worship for him.
That's so these guys basically are the super faithful. They're like real serious, the silver dudes. Even so much so that that Sigmar is scared of them, right?
Is he?
Well,
cool.
He's worried by them.
It's like, you guys are a bit keen.
Yeah, like, you know when you've got one of those uncles who's like, I'll babysit the kids. You're like, you're a bit too keen. I'm not sure about you.
I'll go slay those Chaos Warriors. Oh, you seem to enjoy that too much.
That's too much for me. Yeah. So, the Rust Belt Blacksmith on YouTube makes a point. They're effectively like an archetype of the word bearers, right? It would be super cool to see what happened. I don't know if you guys know anything about the heresy, but in the heresy, what happens is there's a group of Marines that worship the Emperor so much they consider him to be a god. But unlike the Age of Sigmar in the 40k universe, or the sci-fi universe that it is, the Emperor is secular and is like, at the time, is like secular and is like, no, don't worship me as a god. And then one time he gets super pissed off with them and he makes the Ultramarines go and destroy their planet and all of their followers and all of their churches. And that leads these guys to go, well, the word bearers to eventually go and find Chaos and be like, well, fuck you, Dad. We'll go worship these other gods who are genuine gods. So it would be super cool if we saw the Hallowed Knights become the first Chaos Stormcast, because they followed that archetype, but I don't know.
I think people would cry.
Would you think why? I would think it would be sweet as fuck. Would you not like it?
I think like the pure Chaos players, there's probably some in the chat. I'm waiting for them to speak. Would be like, I'm not using a Stormcast. But yeah, the story would be cool. It'd be cool to see some more. Oh yeah, people aren't a fan, Rob.
Well, some people aren't a fan. That would be boring and repetitive. Okay.
Yeah, it sounds very plagiaristic way of doing it.
It's all right. It's their own work. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, it's not Attack of the Clones, like which they plagiarised for 40k. So, so you don't like that idea? You don't think
a
that
story
would be cool?
as old as time?
I think it would. I think any narrative that adds depth to the world is good.
Yes.
I don't care what they throw at me. Throw me some narrative. Let's see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So I think that would be sweet if they did that. I think it's cool that there's also that they have this kind of fanatical faith, and they do know that their God exists, right? They're like, well, we've met him, and they're like, wow, you're a bit serious. So I think that
is God. This one.
Yeah, he is a god.
Yeah, yeah. But maybe he'll tell them off, and they'll be like pissed at him one day. I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe.
Provotary says Chaos would be like, join us for We Are Gods, and the Stormcast would be like, I go out for drinks with like 5 gods. So what? That's true. That's really true.
There's loads of gods everywhere.
Yeah. Heinrad says it's meant to be Warhammer AOS, not Fantasy 40k. I'd like to see them do different things. I'd also like to see them do different things, but I don't hate that. Like, I know where that story is going if that's where the story goes. Like, I think that would be quite fun. Like, I'd also like to see the Horus Heresy, Stormcast Chamber versus Stormcast Chamber. You could just repeat it. Just change all the names.
His thing was quite cool, though, so I'd forgot that bit. So the difference which Hallowed Knights have versus 40k is, so Hallowed Knights can, I think it's in there somewhere, is it like kill Chaos dudes so hard that they then bring them back to the light and they become Stormcast.
Oh, that would be cool.
So I think that's in there. So he's, and it's jogged my memory, but there's a cool bit where he's just put, so in 40k you fall to Chaos, in AOS you can rise back to Order.
Yeah, you can. Well, when we get to the other groups,
so like exercise them.
Yeah.
Kill them so hard they get exercised.
Yeah, I killed you so hard, Sigma. I want your lightning bolt.
See, I don't. So some people see the Heinrad in the chat thinks that there's genuinely a negative between comparing the Age of Sigmar stuff with the 40k stuff, especially with the Marines. But I don't see that as negative. I think you could actually have a very expansive sort of, like, they are effectively the same archetypes anyway. Like, let's be honest. So now you really are splitting hairs between the difference. But I don't see it as a terrible prospect if they were to do that. But that doesn't mean they can't also forge their own. I quite like the idea that eventually they'll all get their own books. That you'll have the Hallowed Knights with their own book, their own kind of weird way of doing things, their own special characters and stuff. I think that would be genuinely really exciting. I think, and you could take Stormcast in loads of different directions, which is really exciting. But I guess this is one of the things. Like, they're a bit Marmite, aren't they, as an army? So that when you start talking about them, people are like, "No, don't do that or do this." But everyone's got a feeling about them, no matter what.
I think it's because they put them on every poster and in every starter box for so long.
Did I just see my friend Pegastix in the chat? In which case, I'm going to ring her after this show.
Yes.
There's a named Hollow Knight character who's an ex-Chaos Warrior. There you go. So
There you go.
Former Chaos Warriors turned into.
Oh, he was a great unclean one.
Was he?
Yeah,
Bollocks.
he was. He was a great unclean one, and he got fucked up by Optimus Prime so hard that he turned into a Night Venator.
That cannot be true.
Tis the truth.
Is that true?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I might actually start reading the narrative books. Probably not today though. Apparently that's not correct, Nathan, and you're lying.
According to who? Let's fight! From 6 foot away from each other.
Or on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, no, no.
Right, so there's special rules, right? Hollow Knights. So they've got only the faithful. That's the only time you'll ever hear me say that out loud. Is if a friendly Hallowed Knight unit is affected by a spell or end of spell, roll a dice on a 6+. You ignore the effects of that spell on that unit. It's a real poor comparison to Null Myriad for OCR Bone Reapers, right? Where it's a 4+, ignore all spells.
Yeah.
So not a great like sub-faction ability. Their command ability, though, is you can use command ability at the start of your hero phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Hallowed Knights unit wholly within 9 inches of a friendly Hallowed Knights hero, or wholly within 18 inches of a friendly Hallowed Knights hero. That is a general. Add 1 to run rolls and charge rolls for that unit until your next hero phase. In addition, until your next hero phase, that unit can run and still charge later in the same turn. So, like Grob Good says in the chat, crappy version of Hallowheart, ignore spell roll, and this is a crappy version of Gavriel Shore Charge's charge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can't have him in this faction because he has to be a Hallowed Knight. Has to be a Hammers of Sigma.
Oh my god. If a friendly Hallowed Knights unit is affected by a spell or end of spell, roll a dice. Doesn't even say you can choose to roll a dice. So as the Rust Belt Blacksmith is pointing out on YouTube, it means even if you cast a positive spell on your army, you still have to roll the 6+ to see if you ignore it. Because it doesn't say choose to roll a dice.
I'm going to teleport this unit. Oh, no, I'm not.
Fuck. Oh, okay. So far not great, and also they don't. Why do they ignore spells? Why is that their like sub-faction? How does that relate to their narrative? It's like there's no cohesion there at all, right?
This is
Yeah.
part of believing in their god so hard. But they all believe in their god so hard because they've all
They've
seen
met
him.
him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm not really sure. Yeah, okay. And then they got command ability and martyr strength. Roll a dice if this general is slain in the combat phase. On 2+, the general can make a pile in and then attack with all of the melee weapons it's armed with before it's removed from play. So you could build a really cool Star Drake from that if you wanted.
Yeah. Still a rubbish fighter.
Yeah, it's pretty rubbish. Then the artifact of power in your hero phase, heal 1 wound allocated to the bearer. So yeah, not great. Not great. And none of it really seems to make much sense, right? But, okay. Compared to the story, I don't know. It doesn't relate, which is odd because they did. We talked about, James, you weren't on the show, but me and Nathan went through the Daughters of Cain, the Ideth Deepkin ones, and they did at least make them different-ish to a degree.
Yeah.
Which was quite interesting. They weren't brilliant, but they were good.
I think this is almost the same sort of thing, though, isn't it? Like poster boys, early book out, kind of factions they probably haven't wrote enough lore about, and they like trying to meddle through and make things. And I also think, so for me, like I think Stormcast always get like when the box comes out, it's like these are good, but they're not like Seraphon. Like it's not like, oh, we're gonna make these really good. It's like we think these will sell, we'll make them decent because they'll sell anyway. And if we break them, they're already Marmite. So if we break them, they're going to be more Marmite.
Well, I don't think that's overly fair because I think credit where credit's due is Games Workshop, the rules guys for the Age of Sigmar stuff, have come on leaps and bounds with their sub-faction creation. I think you need to look at. I think they did a great job with the Slaves to Darkness book. Like they all play very differently to each other. And then they did a great job with the Seraphon, because while Seraphon is generally bent as a banana anyway, but they bent in a banana in very different ways to each other. And some of them are better than the other version that they're different to, but they're still good. Does that make sense? But they've used the sub-faction to create better rules or to create different armies inside of a book, whereas there isn't any. It's not forcing me to take different units. It's not like that. Like, the only thing I see there from the command trait is, okay, that would work on a Star Drake. That's the only thing forcing me to be different, which is
Yeah, it's also, what are we talking? It's a fairly old book now, I guess, isn't it? So
yeah, it is absolutely. It is okay. Well, so that's Hallowed Knights. Maybe we'll see them become weird chaos in the future, or maybe they were chaos and we'll see them not be chaos. Who knows?
Or maybe they'll cure chaos.
Maybe they'll cure chaos. That would be really fun. Yeah. I'm just scrolling back to the beginning of the narrative. I'm sorry. Unless either of you two have got the Stormcast Tales book, which I doubt.
No,
I have it, but not next to me.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll scroll back to the narrative. Feel free to talk amongst yourselves while I do this.
In chipmunk voices. Chippa, 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 chippa.
Yeah, I think everyone's all like. I still think I can just respond to Velatron in the chat. Like, having played them, I think like they're one of those armies that people really didn't like. I almost feel like that whole when the world of fantasy kind of collapsed, and there was all those people that burnt armies and cried with their square bases in their hands. Like, Stormcast almost still represent that change, because they were the one new thing, weren't they, that came at that point.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. I think that they have that. Whereas it's kind of different to Space Marines, where Space Marines were most people's first way in. Yeah, Stormcast represents the destruction of the old world, right? Which is weird, because Chaos should represent the destruction of the old world, literally and figuratively. And yet, it's like everyone's like, "That's fine, Archeon, I'll get that guy."
Yeah, he's cool. Like him, he used to be made in metal. These guys, no.
Yeah, fuck
Never
these guys.
seen them before. Who the fuck are these guys?
All right, next up, Celestial Vindicators. I haven't got any different voices now. Well, I might have. I could do it in would you like Santa voice?
Yeah, let's have that.
For Celestial Vindicators, I'll have to go.
I feel like Santa was a Celestial Vindicator, so we're fine.
You think Santa was one?
Yeah.
Oh, I might have lost it. I don't know if I've got it. I'm so sorry. No. Oh, there we go. Okay. Is it on? Hello?
Hello? No.
Is this on now?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
Jonathan.
Celestial
Jonathan! He's here!
Right, Celestial Vindicators, the vengeful, the hate-fueled, the hurricane of blades. The Celestial Vindicators are vengeance incarnate. Their hearts burn with an enmity for chaos that knows no bounds. To witness them in battle is to see the hurricane of razored Sigmarite break upon the foe until nothing is left alive, for these bladesmen value neither mercy nor restraint. As mortals, each of the warriors that would become the Celestial Vindicators had prayed to Sigmar while still soaked in the blood of the enemy. They did not pray to be saved, avenged, or transported to safety. Instead, they implored the powers above for the strength enough to smite those who had wronged them. They were not given their retribution then and there, but snatched up to the heavens. Since that day, they have become part of something much larger, the raging typhoon of war that Sigmar unleashes on his foes. Put a Zimbabwean accent as well. All right, my friends. Listen to me.
What's the two Nathans?
To be founded, the Celestial Vindicators are born in wrath. Uniquely during their reforging, the Celestial Vindicators have to pass through the towering Stundra Gate. To brave the black fire of the portal is an ordeal unto itself, and only souls whose hatred burns with the heat of Ashgrid Furnace can hope to survive.
There you go. Enough of that voice.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've annoyed everyone. Did you hear any of it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can see that loads of people left the chat, so I apologise for that. So yeah, what do you make of the Celestial Vindicators? How do you feel about them?
Did they actually?
Scared people away.
Yeah, what do you guys make of these guys? The bloodthirsty ones, basically. The martial, which is weird. In all of the martial powers, they're the most martial, I guess, and the ones that like the most murder. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I guess like when we're talking about like the narrative stuff, like I guess maybe does that make them a bit more interesting? That they're almost like we talked about them kind of being originally like these perfect good guys. Now they're a bit less perfect, a bit more humanized, and then like in that are these like and there's also ones that are kind of crazy and enjoy killing things, which we wouldn't associate with being good. Maybe I don't know. There's some story there, maybe.
I mean, like, they say enjoy your work and you never work a day in your life.
Okay, cool. Yeah, fine.
So I think maybe, if you just be a crazy fuck, and like, I mean, it says here each Stormcast of the Celestial Vindicators has a tale of atrocity and madness from their past that drives them ever onward. This gives them an incredible force of personality. It's said that some Celestial Vindicators can melt copper with the intensity of their stare.
I mean, that's impressive. You'd
They
want one of
could be
those around.
plumbers. Yeah, they could be plumbers if they're not killing things.
I don't know. Like, I just think like so. Let's just say right. So your house has been robbed. Yeah. Or let's go Batman. So your family's been killed. Right. Your mum and dad murdered by some crazy guy in makeup in front of you in the street. Yeah.
Yep.
And Detective Gordon comes and you're like, this guy's just murdered my parents. I'm a kid. I'm crying. He's like, that's cool. Do you know what happened in my past? Something worse. Now I'm going to go kill him. See in a bit. Would you be happy about that? Is that the sort of person you'd want protecting your city?
No, it's not. It's not who I'd want protecting my city at all. I don't want the murder. I want the guy ravaged, like who's staring at bars of metal, just eyeballing it and just being like, "Fuck this." Could you guys into the camera right now give me your very best melting copper stare?
No, because now I'm laughing.
Give it a melting copper stare.
Yeah, please.
Sure.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's at this point I'd like to point out our brand new competition. I will sponsor you a set of objective rings, probably. I'll talk to James about this later. If
no, you will. You will.
The competition is from now until next Monday. I need you to send me a picture on Twitter of your best copper melting stare. Yeah, and the winner will be judged by us, me, Nathan, and James. We've been leading up to this competition the entire show. Because
live on the show.
Live on the show.
Oh dear.
Next week's show, judging.
Yeah. Do they have a grudge against copper? Yeah, maybe they should. The lessons of course. How did that get past an editor? How did the editor not be like, listen, they're going to take the piss out of you if you put that in? Like, they're like, it's anonymous.
Look,
they don't know who wrote it. Yeah.
They only wear gold, so it doesn't matter. So if you had an army of those, hang on, I'm going back, right? You have an army of those, and you paint that armor copper. How would their helmets work?
They'd stare their own helmet onto their own face.
Yeah, just all melt. Like, so impractical.
Oh my god! But Steve Buscemi would be a Celestial Vindicator. Like he's got a great stare. I think. All right, should we go find out what they're? Unless you guys have got anything about the melty copper lords. No, they suck. Oh, I've got to scroll. Fill the time.
Oh. Okay. I mean, they are. It does seem to be a common theme, though, in all of these sub-factions that they have a murderous bunch, like extreme murdery, more murdery than the other murderers bunch of dudes. They got it in the Daughters of Cain and some of the others, don't they?
But how how murdery do you have to be I just want to answer a question in the chat because honestly, I can't not. Lionsboy401 says, "How do you guys
I saw that.
set up the webcam to a PS4 and have like a border around your face?" Lionsboy, we use a program called OBS, Open Broadcast Software. Honestly, don't know how you do it to PlayStation, my dude. But good luck on your journey, and I hope you find a way to do that. Let us know how that goes. Just needed to answer that. That was really important. Yeah, how murdery do you have to be the top tier murdery?
10 people.
I don't know.
Per hour.
Per hour.
Well, I mean, there's mine and Nathan's different. My top murderer kills 10 people. Nathan's top murderer kills 10 people an hour.
Per hour. When you're on the job.
When you're busy.
Once you've clocked on.
Yeah. Right, okay, so Celestial Vindicators, their special rules. Driven by vengeance. You can reroll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by Celestial Vindicators and units that made charge move in the same turn. That's not very vengeance-y.
I'm so angry, I'm rerolling ones.
Yeah.
So reroll ones to hit when they charge.
When they charge. So they're only angry when they charge.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, reroll ones to hit is quite nice though. But yeah, fair enough.
Travis over on Facebook asks, how do you have extra murdery Canites? I mean, we didn't write the narrative, but I guess they just murder more people than...
Yeah, they're probably on at least 20 an hour. Something like that.
They murder more.
Nath, can I get, in the Mortal Realms, can I get your sliding scale? Can I, like, if I was to say someone was murderous in the Mortal Realms,
Yeah.
how many people do they generally murder? Just so I know what's more murderous. Yeah, per hour.
Per hour. Depending what faction what Grand Alliance you're from, really, I think.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay,
It got more complicated.
So, yeah, it got more complicated. So order. So from order.
3.5.
3.5. What is that? Is that 3 and a Dwarden?
Yeah,
No.
three in a Dwarden per hour.
3.5 halfling.
3 and a halfling. Okay.
Yeah, I said 3.5. It's obviously a halfling.
Ah, sorry. Don't exist anymore.
Okay, well that's good. So then these guys are going to be murdering anything above 3.5. That's the sliding scale of murder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
10.
Right. Yeah. So that's their ability, which sucks. And then the command ability, Righteous Hatred. You can use this command ability at the start of the combat phase. If you do so, you pick a friendly Celestial Vindicator unit wholly within 9 inches of a friendly Celestial Vindicator's hero, or wholly within 18 inches of a friendly Celestial Vindicator's hero, that is the general. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of that unit's melee weapons until the end of that phase. Which is genuinely... Oh, Velatron, thanks for donating 1,000 bits to the show. Woohoo!
Cool.
5,000 bits. Yeah, just 1,000.
Wow.
Well, that's because 1,000 is the average amount of bits that people donate per hour, but 5,000 is above.
Above and beyond the Call of Duty.
Yeah. Thanks, Velatron, you sexy babe. I also like the Velatron. If you don't know, I won't say his real name, but I can't imagine that man in anything other than a really nice shirt and a pair of trousers. So he's saying he's at home right now in his comfies. Really surprises me that he even owns comfies. So.
It's a cotton suit.
Yes, yeah, cord. It's just a cord suit. Him and Benjamin Sava go to the same tailor. Like that's right. So the command ability is add 1 to the attack's weapons. What do you think?
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. That's not bad at all.
So not bothered or bothered?
Oh, I think it's decent. So far, these guys have been, I'd say they're the best that we've heard so far.
They are the best. Yeah, agreed. So the command trait is each time single-minded fury. Each time you roll a roll for an unmodified hit roll of 6 for this general, add 1 to the damage characteristic of the attack.
I think I heard it wrong.
What did you hear?
I thought you were getting +1 to your attacks.
Yeah, you are.
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
that was
command
the other
ability.
one. That's
the
the
Oh,
command
that was.
ability.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right, then I did hear it right. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
and
This
then-
is a new thing. Command trait.
Yeah.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah, you fucking fire it. Each... Listen,
Oh.
if you're listening to the podcast and you think I want Rob to fucking stop touching that soundboard, I want you to stop listening to this podcast because I can't even hear it. Imagine how I feel. I can't even hear it. I don't know what this sounds like, but I imagine it's great fun.
Yeah.
Super
Oh
annoyed.
dear.
Anyway, right. And then the artifact of power is the Storm Rage Blade. Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. At the start of the combat phase, you can add 2 to the attack's characteristic of the weapon until the end of that phase. If you do so, subtract 1 from the save rolls for attacks that target the bearer until the end of that phase. Add 2 to the attack's characteristic of this weapon until the end of the phase. If you do so, subtract 1 from the save rolls. So you
Is that
like,
once per battle, or is it?
pick
Yeah.
one at the start of the combat phase. No, pick one of the. Not once. Per
Not
battle.
one. Oh, okay. Oh, that's
Oh,
not
okay.
bad. Yeah,
So you want a hero that punches a hole in something?
yeah. That's pretty good.
Yeah, because you could make. Yeah, I suppose you could take Single-Minded Fury. You could take the Artifact of Power. So you could take again another Star Drake and give him this command ability, give him +1 attack, and just have him go like a bit fucking mental.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But you probably wouldn't. So, Desert Sketch in the chat says, and also Desert Sketch is a legend. I won't ever do that. They are the best so far, and they're not even good. That's true.
Fair.
And
Do you know what? Also, it's annoyed me the whole way through. We've been talking about these. How are they the most killy, but Hammers of Sigmar fight the most wars? How does that work?
well, 'cause you haven't got to be in a war to be killy.
Yeah. They just
Yeah,
kill.
but if you were in a war, you'd hope you're killing like a couple of thousand chaos people. And what these guys just like, there's 5 of them just killing bandits on a road every, what was it, 10 an hour.
10
Like,
an
just
hour.
stab
Yeah.
They're not even doing that. They've got a quota to keep up. They're killing cows, chickens, like
Just anything. Sorry, yeah, we didn't say what they were killing. They're just like
just murder.
crushing fertilized eggs.
Yeah, they're just tipping whole cartons of eggs on the floor. They're like, "Fuck you! You'll never be chickens." Yeah, they're
Getting
just-
some caviar, smushing it, sorted.
they're just wild men. Wild men. So Celestial Vindicator's not that great, truth be told. But the best so far.
I would say
Yep.
they're the best so far. Yeah.
Yeah. But he does also put, as Desert Sketch is saying, this guy also puts rend on himself, the Celestial Vindicator. So, yeah. All right, cool. So the best so far, Celestial Vindicators. So next up is one that I know we see at tournaments quite a lot, is the Anvils of Heldenhammer is the next one. And again, I'm just doing the scroll, so time for a small interlude.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-da.
Someone ask us a question. Where's the question? Haven't got one.
Okay.
Everyone
wait,
should. Oh,
I've got it.
they
I
kill
found it.
goblins. So technically, they kill more. Cool. That works. Yeah.
It's not- There's quality versus quality. That's what.
Yeah.
They're just.
That's what we're going for.
Yeah, the guy, this Lord Celestin that's in charge of those guys must be such a dick. He's just there with a clipboard, like watching them, and he's like,
Just one of those clickers people have when you go in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Come on, speed it up.
"Look, if I was the Celestial Vindicators, I'd union up. I'd be like, I want to lower our quota because I'm tired. It's a lot that you're asking me to do here. All right, the Anvils of Heldenhammer. Here we go. Regular voice.
Yeah, regular voice.
The ancients' sepulchral sons, they who claim death. The Anvils of Heldenhammer are the dark and brooding heroes of an old era, reforged as the broken world span sinister beneath a fell aspect. They have come to embrace the death they once feared and fight like the spectral knights from some ominous legend. So I actually know about these guys. So these guys were raised from the realm of death. So it's as if Sigmar didn't piss off Nagash enough by stealing all these souls of all these heroes. He actually went to the realm of death and stole a bunch of souls that were already in the realm of death, and then he turned them into Stormcast, basically. And these guys, like, These guys are the guys that are chiefly in charge of trying to cure the taint that affects Stormcast when they're reforged. So they're into that, but they've basically embraced death and they've researched death magic, and they're kind of the pale, gloomy ones, basically. So they're the emo knights. Thank you, the Merchant Prince. Yeah. Which is quite cool. You could do some very cool paint schemes. Very cool paint schemes for these guys. I think you could get like super, like cover them in Spirit Host stuff. Paint up a Lord Exorcist, which is a super sweet model that you never see on the tabletop. So you could. It's a cool army.
I've got one.
What? Oh yeah, Lord Exorcist. So a death themed army. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they sound.
I think the narrative's not as.
We've lost you there, James.
After you, Nathan.
Yeah,
hello?
I was just
Can you
saying.
hear me?
I was just saying the narrative. There, it's got room, hasn't it? If you want to put your own twist on that, you could make it them more ghostly or just more sinister, that sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, it's not. Again, you see it in some of them where they have one of the Fireslayer lodges got like a lodge that's influenced by Shaiish, and they're sort of more death themed. So it's a fairly common theme, but I guess in the mortal realms you can be directed in these directions, and this is one of those directions. It's pretty cool. It's a good way of going if death is your sort of thing, but then you want to get into an order faction, you can theme it around that, can't you? So.
Yeah, I think you could do some. I think you could do some really fun stuff with Anvils of Heldenhammer specifically, and you get super creative on it. More so than stare at copper. Not great.
Yeah.
Well, they were melting it.
Yeah. But yeah, and they've got like a super emo theme, which is really cool. Paint them up as My Chemical Romance, just have a great time. Go real old school, get a bit of a High AOS for Lovers in there, a bit of Hawthorne Heights, and you could really like bring the emo right to the front. That one was just for James. I'm not sure if it related to it, but yeah, they're a cool sub-faction. So I'm hoping see their rules, we see some like death-like abilities. I like the idea that they maybe make one that is they make a Stormcast chamber for each of the realms, and then they've got like abilities that represent the realms. Like. Obviously, the Gur, they'd be like great at hunting monsters, and in this one, they're good at healing, or I don't know what it would be.
Well, yeah, you'd think that because the Knight Relictors have got like the death mask, don't they? And they seem to use death magic, like in the narrative that we've seen, the bits that I've seen anyway. So you would think that maybe their Knight Relictors get a bonus or something like that. That would be cool. Like an extra prayer or spell or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, because these guys literally were dead.
Let's find out.
They escaped death. And, anyway. Note, please don't stare at coppers. You will get arrested. That's correct. Not coppers. Copper. The Anvils of Heldenhammer. They have no true death as their ability. You can re-roll failed battle shot tests for friendly Anvils of the Heldenhammer units. That's really disappointed. I'm so sorry. Command ability. You can use command ability in your hero phase. If you do so, you pick a friendly Anvils of the Heldenhammer unit wholly within 9 inches of the friendly hero, or 18 inches of the general. That unit can attack with all of the missile weapons it's armed with, or make a pile-in move and attack with all of the melee weapons it is armed with. So that's the command ability. So that is the one that we've seen FAQ'd since then. This is the shootcast army, effectively.
So this happens in the hero phase. They can activate to shoot or fight.
Yeah.
Yes. And
Yeah.
you can do it multiple times.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
It's just super weird. It's a weird command ability for what they're good at.
Oh yeah, it doesn't tie to the narrative really, but it's strong rules wise, isn't it?
It's a super sweet picture though. They've got these super sweet pictures on the. Oh no, fucked it. I've lost it. Never mind. Sorry. Anyway, but yeah, it doesn't tie in at all. But this is the one we've seen the most at tournaments, right? The shootcast list. We've either seen the Gav list or we've seen the shootcast list, and
Yep.
neither of them seem particularly cool, in my opinion. I don't know what you think.
I think the cost for Stormcast is high. Like everyone moaned about it. Like when they got balanced, all the costs went up, didn't they, on kind of everything? And I think the problem is, so you can't if you do shootcast, you can't really afford a screen, can you? Because Liberators just melt.
Yeah.
And if you do, evocators and Garviel, you need 10 evocators, you need him, you've probably lost, what is it, 262, probably 700 points. So then the expense I think is too high, and they die too fast, especially in a world where mortal wounds happen all the time.
And also in a world where summoning happens all the time, right? Where like units can come back from the dead
Yep.
or whatever it might be. Tristan in the chat makes a really good point. You would think that the Hunter subfaction would get that. Like that makes more sense. That like the Death ones, it makes no sense.
Don't talk about that faction no one ever played.
Well, so their command ability, it's called Hunters from Another Age. So, Heroes from Another Age. So, because they are the dead souls of generals and soldiers that were in the realm of death anyway, they're meant to have been, they're meant to have more worldly experience. That's why they're so skilled at being able to do these abilities. But it still doesn't make. I don't think it makes tons of sense, especially with its application in the game. Command trait. Deathly Aura, subtract 1 from bravery characteristics of enemy units while they're wholly within 6 units of the general. That makes sense. They're spooky, weird Stormcast.
Yeah.
And then the Artifact of Power, pick one of the bearer's melee weapons. At the end of the combat phase, roll a dice for each enemy model that was allocated any wounds caused by this weapon in the combat phase. On a 3+, that model suffers 1 mortal wound.
Broken.
It's basically the same as the dagger that the Skink Chief can have that just kills anything.
Yeah. Oh, here's a mortal wound from my Stormcast hero with 4 attacks. Could hit 4 units and maybe do 4 mortal wounds.
So Chris in the chat, who's one of the Tungsten Tyrants, says Lovo and Sam, Tungsten Tyrants, both run those 2 lists, but they have Brett Helms and they're super pretty. So people have tried to run this list before, but I don't think we've ever seen it actually take out an event. And it's because of all the problems we talked about that Stormcast have. But I guess that's really why we're here. Because the combat, as we've seen, there's been nothing that's made combat crazy, right? Reroll 1s isn't quite as good as reroll all to hits and all to wounds. And then fight again when you die. It's just
I think there's that guy from New Zealand's done really well with these sort of things, isn't he? Not this year, but the year before.
Big Sean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was running Shootcast. I'm pretty sure it was probably these guys. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think the Aussies have moved. Not Aussies, the Kiwis have moved on to KO a lot. In that kind of shooting environment, which you've seen. Shooting in Age Sigmar is actually really, really prevalent at the minute. I know none of us are playing, but when we do get back to it, you're going to see Screamers burning people off, Salamanders and Bastillodons burning people off. So it's going to be a wild time for people who have been used to a very combat-orientated game for quite a while. And the KO are going to do some really solid work as well, I think.
I would like you to read Dan unsupervised comment out.
But with a fancy voice.
Okay.
Yeah, with a fancy voice.
I am Sigmar's rage made manifest. Here is 1 mortal wound on a 3+, if I already hurt you and didn't kill you.
Do you know what? So that voice, whatever that voice you just used is, there was a really good 90s Space Hulk game that was on PlayStation 1 and PC, and that's what all the Terminators sounded like.
Well, anyway, yeah. So, Anvil. So, what do you think about one of the things that's interesting here about the anvils thing is if you were to look at it the different way, as soon as you see that you can make shooting happen multiple times, you think,
Yeah.
all right, that's pretty sweet. But what about the version where you make multiple combats happen in the next hero phase? Like you have to be wholly within 18 inches of a friendly hero that is the general to make it happen. So it's quite a large range, and you've got some pretty resilient and tanky fucking units. And you just come in your hero phase if you do so. Pick a friendly anvil. So I mean, you could have it on a Star Drake and make him just pile an attack again in the hero phase.
No, he's rubbish.
If he was alive,
He's rubbish.
but
You'd want it on like 10 retributors. 10 retributors with hammers, 10 decimators with the axes if you're fighting a horde. Or what I actually think still people always forget is protectors are still super strong. And like if you see an army that's got a load of monsters, so like when people were playing loads of Daughters of Cain, actually like every protector's what, three attacks, threes, -1, but on a monster does 3 flat damage. So if you were fighting with those twice, you could probably take at least 2 Keepers of Secrets off in a turn.
yeah, but you have to get hit first. But the thing is, you do have the wound cap to do it. If you lose half the unit, but you still get to attack the next turn and the hero phase, then you're in a pretty good spot. Like maybe
it's a lot more situational, isn't it, for combat though?
Yeah, it's hard. It's way
if you're
harder to
attacking
do.
last, doomed.
Whereas shooting, it's obviously just loads easier to manage. As the Stormcast player, definitely. I mean, it's similar in a way to the Iron Jaws thing, where you can do the Mighty Destroyers, where you can activate them in the hero phase, which you don't see it used very often to use for the attack thing. But if you can combo it, where you can get the charge in using some other ability, then that would be good. If you could get a charge and then activate that command ability. But I don't think you can with the Stormcast. So it is very situational. But when you do use it in that situation, it's really good. It's really good if they were like against the horrors, pink horrors, where they start to tie you up. Whereas if you can get extra activations against them, then you could free yourself. So, but like I say, it's situational, isn't it?
I think actually being able to free yourself out of combat and then charge might help with that movement problem. But yeah, anyway. So can you roll a 3+ for 1 mortal wound twice? Are you crazy, Rob? Pick one of the bearer's melee weapons at the end of the combat phase. No, sorry. Stipulates the combat phase. Can't do it in the hero phase as well. That would just be too much on that artifact of power. That'd be too powerful. Also, Nathan, I don't know what light's just been shining, but you look great right now. You're just illuminated like a legend. Looks like you're about to be reforged. Also, Milky Badger, thanks for subscribing, you sexy bastard.
Got a bit dark in here. Sorry.
Right, okay, next chamber. It looks like we're probably only going to do Stormcast today because it's taking a while, and I don't mind. Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's have fun. And then, Chris, if you're listening, we'll do Sylvaneth next week, I promise. I'm so sorry if we thought it was... Oh, fucking hell. So much. Right. There's so many still to go. So many. Knights Excelsior. Holy Destroyers. The White Executioners. I mean... Okay, and then the Annihilators all. I'm not touching that with a barge pole. Right, does it remind you of being at home, Nath? Right, cables of chain lightning descend in a great helical spirals to strike with the thunderous force as the white armored warriors emerge at full charge. When the storm of their attack passes, it leaves his only smouldering ruin. The Knights Excelsior are obliteration given form. For the Knights Excelsior, only the utter destruction of the enemy is counted as victory. They are famed for their black and white morality. Indeed, it is said that they only see the people around them as either good, in which case they will work alongside them gladly, or evil. Today I learned I'm a Knight Excelsior. in which case they will kill them, whatever it takes. That's probably too far. Maybe just give them a mean stare and block them on Twitter. They can be trusted to wage. they can be trusted to wage their wars to the full, for they will allow nothing to tarnish Sigmar's glory. The Knights Excelsior march to war in disciplined lockstep, an unbroken chain of gleaming white armor and blue shields. Their martial philosophy emphasizes the regiment over the individual, and it is said, they're communists, and it is said that those that witness them in battle as they fight as one, it is not their extensive training in the gladiatorium that binds them so tightly, but the tenets of the Shining Lord, the first and most unwavering in their number. This ethos is so extreme, it breeds tight bonds of loyalty and lethal warriors. There you go. That is the Knights Excelsior. What do you think of that?
But they reroll saves of 1.
Do you know that? Have you got the rules? You got the book?
No.
Oh, I've got to scroll to it. Fuck.
So extra lightning, extra synchronization.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So maybe if they're all within 1 inch of each other, they get +4 attacks.
Yeah.
No, they're gonna get a reroll saves of 1. That's my bet.
That's
what
your
I'm going
bet.
for.
Okay, but what would you think that they should have based on the narrative?
Yeah, you would think they would get bonuses if they were fighting together, or maybe they would activate units around them, sort of thing, if they fight themselves, that sort of stuff.
Units buff units, or if for every model over every 3 models in a unit, you get an extra attack, or every 3 models in a unit, you get an extra save, +1 to your save or something.
Okay, here we go. The Knights Excelsior, right?
Yeah.
Storm of Annihilation. Holy shit, this is going to be good.
Ooh, lightning.
Yeah, if a friendly Knights Excelsior unit makes an attack that destroys an enemy unit, you can re-roll hit rolls of 1 for attacks made by that Knights Excelsior unit for the rest of the battle.
So.
Oh, shit.
Wonder why no one's ever played these.
Yeah, I mean, you get reroll 1s to hit only if you do something, as opposed to just flat reroll 1s to hit, which is...
Yeah.
The command ability, though, that might save it. You can use the command ability in your hero phase. If you do so, pick a friendly Knights Excelsior unit holding within 9 inches, blah, 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 blah. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by that unit until the end of the turn. So you could have reroll 1s to hit, which you can already get via a command ability now from the new GHB.
And you can also get it, if memory serves me right, from putting twin weapons on your liberators.
Potentially, but you're probably going to do it on something else.
Yeah.
But that's only if you've wiped out a unit. So there you go. And then command trait, add 1 to the damage characteristics of the general's melee weapons if it targets a hero. And then Celestial Lightning, once per battle in your hero phase, the bearer can attempt to bind an enemy hero monster model within 3 inches. If they do so, roll 3d6. Your opponent rolls 2d6 if the target is a hero, or 3d6 if it's a hero or monster. If your roll is higher until your next hero phase, halve the move characteristic. Once per battle in your hero phase, the bearer can attempt to bind an enemy hero that's within 3 inches. So it's within 3 inches. And then if I roll higher, I can halve their move characteristic.
Is that all you do? Oh.
Yeah. No, sorry. Oh. Move characteristic, run rolls, charge rolls for that enemy model, and halve the attacks characteristic of its melee weapons, round up any fractions up. What the fuck?
For how long?
Doesn't say.
For just forever.
Forever, yeah. Doesn't say, so I'm going to go with forever. So, fuck, man. That's shit. You have to be within 3 inches already to make this happen. Therefore, why don't you just smack him?
Who knows?
Anyway.
It does make him shit.
It does make him shit. There's 3 more. I'm not even going to read out the narrative to the other 3. I'm just going to read out the fucking rules. Well, I'll read them out quickly, because we spend a lot of time building up to the rules, and the rules are like, oh, these suck.
But that's the fun.
I don't know. Right, Celestial Warbringers. The Warseers of the Celestial Warbringers hail from the tribe of people who can foresee their own deaths. They are touched by mysticism and read the omens and portents of the heavens to give them a vital edge in battle. They use daring ploys and harness the energies of Azir to confound and destroy those that would defy Sigmar. More than any other storm host, the Celestial Warbringers go to war with the blessing of heavens above. They take a bellicose joy in their roles as one of Sigmar's storm-blessed hosts, for they believe that with the fates aligned in their favour and the ability to return to life, even after being slain, they are essentially invulnerable until the day of their last true death. So that's those guys.
Battle Shock immune.
Okay.
Battle Shock immune.
All right. Fearless Foresight. At the start of the first battle round, okay, after determining who has the first turn, but before the first turn begins, you can pick up to D3 Celestial Vindicators units that have and set them up again. Just redeploy them. That's their ability.
Okay. Useful?
Is it useful?
No, not useful at all.
Command ability.
Just deploy right the first time.
Shit. Well, it's because you might need to be in range of the command ability, right? Which is, you can use command ability in your hero phase, so within 9 inches of a hero and 18 of the general. Add 1 to the casting rolls for that unit until the end of the phase. You do so pick a friendly, so you can pick a wizard and give it +1 to cast.
So you could give Evocators +1 to cast.
You could also give your Lord Arcanum on a Taurolon +1 to cast, and then cast the Comet.
No one owns that model.
Or the Incanter or somebody like that.
Apart from Adam Chucklebutt.
The Incanter. You could do the Incanter and give him +1 to cast.
Yeah,
That'd be sweet.
You could do +1 to Comet, and there's a staff that gives you +1, so you could get +2 to cast for a turn.
Yeah, there's also an artifact that gives you extra mortal wounds, which is cool, but I don't think it works on the Comet. And then the artifact power, command trait. Once per turn, you can reroll one failed hit roll or failed wound roll for an attack made by this general, or one failed save roll for an attack that targets this general. So that's the portents and omens. And then the artifact of power at the end of the combat phase, you can pick one enemy unit within 3 inches of the bearer, roll a dice. On a 3+, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound, and you can roll another dice. On a 4+, that unit suffers 1 extra mortal wound. So just as good as the other one, right?
Yeah, great.
So not good. Not good.
No, not great either. Again, you don't see those guys very often, I presume.
I don't think I've ever played a Stormcast player other than Velotron who's not been Hammers of Sigmar, other than me.
I've seen all the shootcast ones at Anvils.
Yeah, recently. So I've not
Anvils.
played shootcasts since that became a thing.
I think I've played against the Celestial Vindicators as well once. So
Wow. Okay, well, never Celestial Warbringers. Their narrative, by the way, with so many of their number naturally adept in the mystical arts.
Love it.
And there's just a human Hallowheart wizard who's like +6 to cast to everyone. Let's fucking go! Yeah. All right. Tempest Lords, they're up next. There's only 2. Tempest Lords and the Astral Templars. Tempest Lords are not only warriors, but also rulers, lords, and grand strategists who are born to lead. Where a conventional army wins battles, the Tempest Lords win wars, leaving a foundation of victory upon which the spires of civilization can be built anew. The clarion call of heralds and the boom of the storm announce the coming of the Tempest Lords. These noble storm hosts has already helped forge the new nations of order. It has integrated the heaven-sent forces of Sigmar with those of the free people, turned the ragtag survivors of the downtrodden nations into strong and motivated armies, and worked hard to allay the rumours of those of the storm hosts that are not truly human, at least for a time. So they're like the good guys, the Tempest Lords. Abilities, Grand Strategists. At the start of your hero phase, roll a dice. On a 4+, receive an extra command point.
it's not bad, I suppose. Command points are good.
How many command points can Seraphon get a turn?
Sure.
What about Gits?
I mean,
I once saw Vince Ventrella playing a game on a live stream when I was covering it in Ashcon, and he had 11. And I honestly was like, I didn't even know people could get to double digits in this game. This is some mad shit. That I fucking loved it, but it was wild.
Yeah.
And then Nathan's like 15 command points. I've got 8 True Mancers or whatever the fuck he's got. Yeah. So yeah, +1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoe answers. Yeah, that'd be cool.
So that's some hot garbage. What
Yeah.
would you want? What would you want them to have if they're like super good dudes?
I mean, the command point thing is not bad, but just give them an extra command point.
I think I'd like to see them have like some sort of integration with their narrative where they help the like populace out, like a command ability, or like a bit like with the Marauders thing. At the start of the first turn, you could summon D3 units of Free Guild Guard or something onto the board.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know?
that would be cool. So like, yeah. So each turn, for your hero, so the same sort of thing. So for each turn for a hero on the board, you get 10 free guild footmen or 10 free guild gunners from a board edge to come back you up or whatever, or within 9 of a unit. Rally the peasants.
Yeah, that's what they should call it. Rally the peasants. Their command ability, though, is not that. It's 9 of a hero, 18 of a general. You can reroll wound rolls of 1 for attacks made by that unit until the next hero phase. Pick one unit.
Every faction has like a reroll. What?
I mean, reroll 1 to wound is genuinely great, like in the right situation, but it's not great in this situation.
It's just, yeah.
Oh, what?
It's just like not what you want, is it? Like you just go through the rules and you're like, these are like the heroes of the world, made lightning manifest, taken to heaven, forged into armor, sent back to Earth. Reroll your ones.
It's not happening. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm not about it. And then you got the artifact of power. Bonds of noble duty. The command trait. Add 1 to wound rolls for attacks made with this general's melee weapons, while this general is within 6 inches of other friendly Tempest Lord units. So that sucks. And then Patrician's Helm. If the bearer is on the battlefield, each time you spend a command point, roll a dice on a 5+, you receive 1 extra command point, which you can spend on that ability that you're never going to use. So fun. Yeah. I mean, it's not great. It's not great at all, and it's really sad actually because their narrative sounds quite fun. But that's what I was saying. The new sub-factions. It's quite nice looking at this because you realise how much they've come on. But then again, like they were quite different in the KO book, which is before this, right? So
Yeah.
I think sometimes maybe the writer matters, but they're obviously getting substantially better as time goes on.
Well, I mean, the Daughters of Cain book is older than this, and they had I liked their faction.
Yeah, theirs was cool.
Sub-faction abilities. I thought they were really good.
And
better than this.
Yeah, and surely you could do. These have a larger model range. How can you not do more with this? Where's the artillery? You know, like or these guys just set up guns and just do shooting all day long. Like it doesn't make. It's really bad actually.
There's a logistics chamber for that.
But honestly, for your signature book, it's actually they don't seem in any way different, rules-wise. Narrative-wise, they keep describing them as being different, but rules-wise, they're really poorly represented. I think, and that's not a criticism of Stormcast. That's a criticism of the design work put into them as an army, which I think is sad because they've clearly had some love put into their story. Staring at Copper,
yeah,
probably.
I will come to it at the end.
I think some of the narrative could be stronger as well, especially on these chambers.
Yeah, agreed with that. Right, last one, gents. So, is the Astral Templars. Hunters and monster killers, the Astral Templars are more at home in the wilderness than the city. They hail from the tribes that once fought against giant beasts to survive, though now their skills are put to even better use. Clad in furs, adorned with skulls and totems, they have a barbaric appearance, but their valor is proven in battle every day. The Astral Templars live by the common Gurish belief that the best way to destroy a serpent is to cut off its head. They know well that the hordes of the dark gods are without number, are as teeming tribes that worship Gorkamorka, an undead host ruled over by Nagash. So they try and kill the generals, basically. That's their story. They hunt the general.
Cool.
Okay.
And so their abilities are Beast Stalkers, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks by Astral Templars that target a monster. That's actually pretty good.
It's not bad, yeah. There's
It's
quite
most-
a few monsters around nowadays, aren't there?
Yeah, and it's the most distinctive like surely it's like one of the most distinctive command traits we've actually seen. Like that's actually like
Yeah.
that makes sense. Command ability, it's 9 inches. Astral Templar's unit with 9 of a hero, 18 of a general. Add 1 to the wound rolls for attacks made by that unit that target a hero. So if you're attacking a monster and a hero, then these guys are getting +1 to hit and +1 to wound.
Yep.
Yeah. And that
Which is-
affects shooting as well as melee.
Combat phase. No, combat phase.
Combat.
For the +1 to wound, but +1 to hit, it doesn't say anything. Add 1 to hit rolls if you're targeting. So, I mean, that could be quite cool if you took Astral Templars and you took like 4 Celestar Ballisters. That +1 to hit against monsters when you're doing the long range shot, and then if you have an Ordinator nearby, you genuinely have got an opportunity to take out some monsters at range, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, so you'd be hitting on 3s doing D6 hits per one.
Yeah. At Ren 2. And then the command trait, Dauntless Hunters, is after setup is complete but before the battle begins, friendly Astral Templars units holding than 12 inches general can move up to 6 inches. After the setup is complete but before the battle begins, friendly Astral Templars units holding within 12 inches of this general can move up to 6 inches. That's really great.
That's quite useful in this day and age. Stopping those alphas, eh?
Yeah, that's really good. And then Artifact of Power, Godbeast Plate, subtract 1 from wound rolls made by a monster that target the bearer.
What?
-1 to wound. Actually, I really like that. Of them all, that one is the one that seems the most well thought out.
Yeah, it's the only one that was probably narrative too.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's it feels like the most narrative one, and also like makes the most sense because it's the realm of beasts. Nubgun in the chat says you watch a new book, they're going to go full Space Marine, and you will pick a bunch of stuff from a list. Yeah, it's going to be wild if they do the same thing they do with Space Marines. So what do you think? Like having looked through that all now, Nath, because like you're the one who started us on this journey week by week.
Yeah.
Like, can you see why you don't really see anything particularly different between them all?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the Stormcast ones. Now we've gone through them, and I think back, I still can't remember half of what the chambers were because they were that
Bland.
Unmemorable. Yeah, bland. So yeah, I think I am still surprised that you see who the hell were the first guy, the Hammers guys, because their abilities were that poor. But I guess it's because of the special characters that have to go into that chamber. Whereas I think the Celestial Vindicators were alright, and obviously the activating the hero phase guys, whoever they were again. The
shooty ones.
Yeah, the ones that you normally see with the shooting dudes. So
yeah,
the anvils of Heldenhammer, anvils of whatever the fuck they're anvils of, those guys. Yeah.
So the Rust Belt Blacksmith makes, I think, a good. I'd like to know what everyone in the Twitch chat thinks, or wherever you're watching live. Even the best storm hosts are bad. In concept, the ideas are all there, but in the wrong places. Some abilities and command traits should be swapped, aren't strong enough, or are so situational that they're rarely things. I think that's a really good kind of like top-level review of the book. It feels very disjointed and also doesn't make loads of sense, because. It's really interesting actually looking back on it and seeing, especially based on like books that came before and books that came after. It's just how badly it was done.
Yeah, it looks like. Yeah, just looks like they proper reined them in a bit, didn't they?
I think so. Which is weird because they've got that new art front cover. Like it's meant to be like, look, we've made them gritty and dark now. Like it really wasn't. What book came after Stormcast and I'm trying to think.
Skaven and Flesh Eater Court?
No, it was Gits after, I think.
Oh no, because that was.
No, maybe the year after. Anyway, but I'd like to know what everyone else thinks. For me personally, I think like actually reading through it now, I really do see why you don't, because things stand out, right? Like Gristlegore stands out because you know it does a thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Like you can use the rules to create like really great moments and stories for people, and they just haven't done it there. It's quite fascinating.
I think I played almost a year's worth of Warhammer on that book, and I never took one of those factions.
Yeah, because you can always make your own, can't you?
Yeah, I took Staunch Defender and can't remember. But Staunch Defender is worth more than anything I think that happened in that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, actually, yeah, it does sort of open up making your own bunch of your own chamber. It's always good to play with your own chamber.
always good to sit and play with your own chamber.
Yeah, it's really fascinating actually reading through it. Like I'm really mulling it over right now. I actually find that quite poor, more than I thought I would. I was like, oh, actually, like there's no substance between the different subfactions. But maybe because it's just so old, we haven't given them the design space. They're getting better at it. I think that I think the Seraphon book is a really good example of them doing it well. And the Slaves to Darkness book, so hopefully that continues.
Well, with the Seraphon book, I think so. You've got sub factions, don't you?
Yes.
And you have to take sub factions. You can't build your own. Or can you?
I don't think you can build your own star host. No, because you're either an angry boy or you're a star boy, basically.
So. And obviously, with cities of Sigmar, you've got no option. You have to come from one of the cities. You can't build your own city.
Yeah.
So, whereas with the
most of them are the same now, right? Because Slaves to Darkness, you can't build your own either.
Oh, really? So, whereas with Stormcast, you'd definitely be looking at building your own. With the Caradron, you can build your own barrack, but I think a lot of the time you'll be looking at the barracks that are pre-built. So that's quite cool that you have got the flexibility there to build your own, and it's probably a better choice.
I think it's needed though, right? Because it's so poor. Maybe maybe they've moved away from the design philosophy of like we should let people create their own things to we're going to make it so that we can create like these situations. So I think it's a real shame actually. That we haven't seen a better, we don't see a better. But when we do, I'd like to see it. I'd like to see them not just make them stronger abilities. I'd like to make them more predefined, like make more sense, make them give more character along with the narrative. Because they really missed out on that, and also some of the narratives a bit like, I mean, just these are the most angry ones is so rubbish.
These ones are the most annoyed.
Yeah, they're melting copper with your eyes is crazy.
Oh, terrifying. Terrifying.
Yeah, but it's honestly quite an exciting design space. Like, they've got, like, these really exciting, like, there's a whole bunch of souls that were stolen from the land of death and reincarnated into an army. Make rules for that. That's really exciting. You could do stuff that you wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I think, like, the other problem you've got with Stormcast isn't there? So in theory, there's 3 more
chambers.
Chambers. So there's 3 more chambers to open. One's, I can't even remember what they are. One sounds crazy and religious. One's like desolation, and one is logistics. So they're just going to build things.
Yes. Well, but will they build like fortifications? Will we see castles? Who knows what they'll do?
So I guess, so I almost feel like that's got to come, hasn't it, before they then give us the interest in-depth, like, knowledge of each chamber.
Yeah, I think that's true. Dexamon says, I can't remember any of the chambers you talked about. One look at Nathan, and I was lost in his eyes. That guy can melt bronze with that smouldering stare.
Oh, bronze. Nathan, you're third. Always third.
Always. Well done. All right, well, thanks for being... thanks to both... Nathan and James for being on the show, and thank you to everyone joining us live. Have you got anything that came up today that you enjoyed? Do you want to like talk about a little bit more, or follow through on.
Follow through. No, it's all right.
Wow.
I think the James's point at the end about creating your own chamber is definitely more interesting than all of that in that book.
Yep,
Yeah.
agreed.
I mean, obviously, being able to shoot in the hero phase one is a strong one, but I think you've probably got more flexibility in building your own from the various abilities and artifacts that are